Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to United View. Welcome to, I was going to say the morning view there, but it's the Flex's view. It's solo Fleck, yeah? Owen's Flecknology was so bad yesterday. I said to him, don't come back this morning because he made us look a disgrace and a cheat, yeah? Yeah? Shout out, if you know, you know, the buds were going crazy yesterday towards the end of the stream. It was absolutely mad, but that isn't the reason why Owen is not here this morning, by the way. I'm just joking. Yeah, just joking. But big up to each and every single one of you. I do love doing these Flex's view, just you and I. Nice to get to talk to the comments, see who's in there. Shout out Lil Yo-Yo, Fleckroy says in there. Says community, get the likes in early. That is 100% on the menu. Likes. You know what I'm saying? Kristen says, morning all. Shout out to you, Kristen. Shiva says, morning Flex from Trinidad and Tobago out there in the Caribbean. Big up to you. Show says, Fleck can see progress even though we lost 2-0. Fleck lowering the standards. Confirmed. Fleck out. Yeah, exactly. That is that's probably going to be out there on the net as well. Show. Nessie says, big up Fleck and UV fam. Tabrez says, I'm not mad about yesterday. Amarim has a vision. And Stephanie says, big up Flex, big up to you. And Morning Flex from London says, Dean. So the roll call's rolling, yeah? The roll call's rolling. Make sure you guys let me know where you guys watching from, how you guys are feeling, etc. And straight off the bat, super chat, first super chat of the day, or shall I say first members chat of the day. Use your members chats, guys. Use your perks. You get your priority chat when you are a member. Use on the perks, yeah? Kenny Fan TV says, big up Flex. I wasn't at all upset with the result. There was some progress. I honestly feel we need a corner specialist. So, yeah, I mean, look, I've gone with that today. I can see progress. I think the defense needs to be, you know, I think needs to be bigged up, you know. And actually, before we carry on, yes, Mike Marion says there, big up Owen for holding last night together. That's why he's off. He's like, I've held this ship together yesterday. I'm having the morning off. Again, that's not the reason why he's not here today as well. But big up to Owen. It was a massive effort from everyone involved last night to make sure you guys had a stream. You know, the guys at the studio, KG made it in the end. It was crazy, but this is what we do here at UV. The chaos happens and we find a way around it. Do you know what I'm saying? We find a way around it. Let's get into this morning's show. And you know what the Flex's views are like, especially if they're live. It's a chance for you guys to get involved even more so because, you know, there's only one voice here. Get your questions into me directly. Let me know how you're feeling and any topics that you guys want to talk about. I'm going to be talking about some of Ruben Amorim's post-match comments, how I'm feeling about the team going forward, the defense. I think that we need to talk about our attack. We need to talk about the way Ruben Amorim is managing the team as well, managing the rotation. We'll talk about that, how we see it going forward. And, of course, some quotes as well from Matthijs de Ligt as well. And whilst we're doing all of that, I will still be up to date with what's going on in terms of, you know, if there's any breaking news that we need to talk about whilst we're live as well. So a jam-packed show for people today. And let's get into it. First of all, let's go through some of Ruben Amorim's quotes of what he said after the game. He said that it was a tough game. We tried to do our game, especially in the first half. We could be more aggressive, but we need some more trainings to reach that area. He said the set pieces changed everything. 2 set pieces. He says we have to understand they have years of doing that, which is true. Arsenal can change games like that. We tried to defend them with the space of 2 days to train, but it's hard for every team to defend Arsenal set pieces. And he said we have to work more. It's a defeat. We want to win games, and we will try to do that in the next game. Those are just some of the quotes that were taken. But when I listened to his post-match presser to the main media, I feel like, again, I liked what he was saying. I think that he picked up on the fact that we managed to stifle Arsenal and we made it uncomfortable for them in the first half. We made it uncomfortable for them. And it was interesting because I was in the Emirates last night, and when he says things like you could feel it in the atmosphere, you genuinely could. I don't know how you guys, what it's like watching when you was watching at home, but honestly, you sat in that away end, you're looking around the Emirates, you're listening to it, you're having a feel for what's going on. And that first half was pretty mundane from Arsenal because of the way we set up. I think we confused them a little bit. I think, yes, they did allow us to have the ball, but I think defensively we were solid. And I think that shocked us a little bit. And the fans were getting a little bit on edge. And actually, there's a piece that Laurie Ritwell's written this morning. And he said, for much of the defeat, United equipped themselves well, stifling Arsenal to such a degree in the first half that the home crowd began to get agitated. So Low Ritwell's written about this in his piece. He was obviously in the game as well. And you could feel it. So as a United fan, let me know what it was like watching on TV, guys. But was there that feeling? I'm asking you, was there that feeling that I'm saying that they felt a little bit uneasy? We didn't allow them to have wave after wave of attack. I think Saka against Malacia was fine. I really worried for Malacia, but he did okay. I think Dalot against Martinelli / Delict, when between the two of them, they kept him fairly quiet. So Havertz was quiet most of the game, didn't do anything. I think, between Maguire, Mazraoui and Delict, they kept him quiet. He wasn't linking up play. I think he had one shot, but he wasn't great. So for large parts, we did that. And then, of course, Arsenal are a better team than us. They upped it in the second half. They kept the fact that they keep getting corners and we had none shows you, though, the big disparity between the teams. Because what I'm not going to do is just act like everything's perfect. I'm not going to act like everything is, rosy and, oh, no, we were absolutely brilliant. We were just really unlucky yesterday. No, I saw the gap between the teams that I expected to see, but I probably thought I would have seen an even bigger gap with where we are versus where they are. But listen, set pieces are set pieces, and we can give them a little bit of banter. I was telling them that they were out a little bit. I went down there to AFTV. I was like, listen, we're live here from the Bet365 Stadium, mate. Do you know what I mean? You lot need to change your red and white to stripes going down the kit like Stoke. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on. But we still did nullify most of their main threats in open play, which is a positive. But Ruben Amorim spoke about it, and he said, attacking wise, we're still way off it. We're still way off it. I mean, we'll create chances against lesser teams. We'll create chances against the poorer sides in the league. But we still, at this level, where we're playing the level of opposition of Arsenal, that's where, I think we're going to come unstuck. And look, we have to travel to Anfield. We have to travel to Etihad. We have to travel to Spurs. And I think these are going to be our sticking points. But there are positives. There are positives. Let's go into what Matthijs de Ligt had to say after the game. He said, obviously, what I said, we're really disappointed, especially if you can see goals like this, chances like that. But as you mentioned, we are on the road to improve as a team. I think the manager has said it also. And he also said, maybe if you do it a certain way, we have a bigger chance of getting results right now. But in the future, we stay the same and we won't improve. I like that from Matthijs de Ligt. He's basically saying that, we can maybe, step away from our principles of what we want to be long-term to give Arsenal a better game now in the short term tonight, as he was talking, and come away from where we want to be in a year's time, in 6 months' time, and abandon those principles. But we'll get more chances tonight. We can go a bit more gung-ho, make the game a bit more end-to-end and not really have any element of control or idea about what we're doing. But he said, in the future, we stay the same and we won't improve. And that's been, again, that's reflected by what the manager's saying, that the head coach is saying. Ruben had told us the storm will come. He told us before the Arsenal game we would get found out soon. So he knew this was coming. He's not silly. But he has told us, I think from the first presser or his first interview, that, if we keep to the rules now and put in the hard work now and suffer now, we will be better for it this time next year. I think he even says, I promise we won't. He said, I promise we'll be much better next year. And that, you can't argue with that. You can't argue with that. Let's get the super chats in. Again, that's another members chat, actually. Haf says, did any player change your mind on them long-term after yesterday's performance? Did any player change your mind on them long-term after yesterday's performance, says Haf? No. I think the players that I like, and I think can fit in the system, they still convinced me. No, I don't think. I mean, I looked at Malacia. I think it's too early to say 45 minutes against Saka, and we go, oh, maybe we don't need a left back. That's changed my opinion. I think he's actually brilliant. There wasn't that, even though he did a good job. Dalot at right wing back did okay. Attacking wise, wasn't the best at times, but he was fairly decent. I know KG didn't like his performance. A couple of dodgy moments in there from him. Look, what did you guys think about Dalot yesterday as well, by the way? Maguire, I'll say that Maguire played really well, like you would expect him to when he's got protection either side of him as a centre back in a back three. But I didn't change my opinion on actually Harry Maguire is going to be perfect for this going forward. Let's extend his contract. Garnacho didn't play well, but that didn't force me into, let's sell him or anything like that. So no, up front, Højlund wrestling with Saliba. I expected him to lose most of those battles. He worked hard. He tried, bless him. Couple of times brought the ball down, and laid it off and won a couple of fouls. Other times just meat and drink for Saliba. But that doesn't change my opinion on we still need a top class striker. So yeah, I don't think he did. I mean, I'm trying to see if the chat here. That boy says Dalot played well. Interesting here. Mercurial Blonde says I thought Dalot struggled with Saka in the second half. Yeah, when he went over to that side. Malasia has to say, says Joel. Where else are we? Lil Yo-Yo says Dalot at right wing back is much better, but not first team player currently. Yeah, I think he was. I don't think he was perfect, but I think he was more comfortable being on the right hand side, definitely. But he wasn't. He's still not lighting things up, is he? Joe Blackman says Dalot, not sure about him again. Maybe he's having a bad season, or maybe he only had one good one. Yeah, I think we're in that sort of middle period where Dalot was really, really good last year. But Dalot, yeah, the stocks, he's not having the best of times. He's not having the best of times, to be honest. But he was better yesterday. Shout out David for today's first super chat. He says, at least they could not break us down in open play, only beat us with the cheat code corners. And look, it sounds like we're lowering the bar, yeah? It sounds like we're, maybe hanging on to what positives we can hang on to, which we have to do this early, which is understandable for where we are. But I agree with that, David. I agree with that. And you know what? Having been at the Emirates yesterday, speaking to the Arsenal fans afterwards, the guys over at AFTV and a lot of fans who, were just behind camera, just talking, catching up. A lot of them gave us praise. In fact, all of them gave us praise to a certain extent. All of them gave us praise to a certain extent. They believe they should have won the game, which is true. They showed more in the end. But they all said, I could see the plan. They all said how surprised they were with the first half at how we managed to nullify them. And even in the second half, I know the game opened up and they had a few more chances, but they still wasn't free-flowing in open play. The game opened up a little bit, and like Ruben Amorim says, the first goal changes everything as soon as they get one from a corner. It's difficult to wrestle the emotion and the control back of the game then. So yes, we did get played through a couple of times and they started to move the ball slightly better, but it still wasn't up to their normal standards. And I think that's because we defended really well. So that is a positive. And look, the corners are a cheat code. The corners really, really are a cheat code. They are unreal. It's not, and look, it's not the first time Arsenal have done it to teams. They are the leading goal scorers in Europe from corners. So I think they've got like 22 goals from it, the most in Europe. They're the masters at it. So it's very, very deliberate. They do it to every single team. It is annoying that was our Achilles heels, like everyone else's. We didn't really have a plan for it. It didn't look like we could cope with it. But, like Ruben Amorim says, we had 2 days to train for that, specific game, that specific model from Everton to Arsenal, to two completely contrasting sides. And he was saying, like, even in the going through the tactics, it was almost like a jogging pace to get his points across. So I'm with you, David. Overall, at least in open play, they didn't absolutely tear us a new one, and it was, their set pieces are just too good. Field Marshal says Arsenal are advanced in their team and have a dark arts if they can't break teams down. Exactly, they find a way to win if they're not at it in open play. United can get there, but after 4 games, you can't expect more than this. Stop and start behaviour from United, and I agree with that. I think for 4 games in, I think the better teams we play right now, I think we'll get better as weeks go on. But the better teams we play right now, I think will probably be a step too far for us, especially because they're all away. If one of them was at home or a couple of them was at home, we have more home games against some of these big teams. It would give us a chance to get the atmosphere up, give the players a little extra 10-15%. But right now we're relying on very few training sessions. We're relying on players taking on information that they've got to do in a short space of time. So we're not going to be there yet. We'll get more organised, and as the weeks go on, we'll have to just keep improving. But I do think these big away games, I think they're going to be a struggle. I think Spurs the way they play, we'll get more chances in that game, but it's still, we could be on the wrong end of the result. The same with City, that they won last night. They're not going to keep being shit for ages. Again, that will probably be too far for us. And the same with Liverpool, the same with Liverpool. So we have to accept that. The sufferation is going to come. The manager, the head coaches, he's told us this already. I thought Laurie Whitwell's piece was really good as well, because he picked out on some things. He was basically saying that, he showed Ruben Amorim showed his exasperation at our attacking play 7 minutes from the end of the game. Onana passed the ball out between two Arsenal players to find Bruno, which was great. Bruno advanced into midfield with 4 teammates ahead of him, but Marcus Rashford dropped deep to collect the ball rather than running in behind. And that seemed to irritate Amorim as he spun back to his bench. Said Rashford turned and played a pass out to Ahmad on the wing, but the ball was overhit, went out. That was a big, I remember that. Kicked it straight out of play. And he goes, and that prompted Amorim to chuck his water bottle on the floor, much to the mirth of the Arsenal fans. So, look, Amorim had been his usual brooding, whirling presence on the sideline as he headed for his first defeat. It provoked a spike in emotion. And we saw that. And there's these close-up images that we keep getting when the camera's panning in on Amorim, or people are taking pictures, close up of just focusing on him. And, obviously he's kneeling down in this sort of Amorim squat position, just looking in. And you can see, I couldn't see from where I was this time because I was so far away on the opposite side of the pitch in the away end. But I've seen it on social media on when people are watching TV, how the camera keeps panning to him. And you can visibly see the frustration in him. He looks agitated. He looks annoyed. He looks frustrated. And you can tell he's like, oh, God's sake, why? Like, I need more from you in those areas. But also when he breaks it down in the end, he explains why. And I do think as an attacking force, we need a lot of work. And he explained it quite well and said, look, defensively, we're fine. We're getting solidity. We're being consistent in our approach. But the final third is where we need more time to train that aspect. We need to be more inventive in that area. We need to have more belief. We need to commit more. We need to play with more intensity in that part of the pitch. And that's the only. I know we're in an early phase, but I do feel that I was annoyed that we couldn't show a little bit more. Even if it was off the cuff, take a risk. Commit a little bit. But that bit was the tough bit. But Amorim wants to carry an attacking threat, Laurie said. He said, so being outnumbered 35-6 touches in the opposition box was not on the agenda. The only real chance came from two Bruno Fernandes free kicks in the second half. And obviously the save from David Ray, which one led to, and then the other one was a straightforward stop from Anthony. So, and this is what Bruno says. He says, we didn't have time. Amorim said when asked about his visible frustrations, we work a lot on building up. You can see the structure. You can see the idea. You can see the bounce when the centre-backs go into the midfielders. But then in the last part of the last third, you can see that we need to improve, be more aggressive, more ideas. But that part is more difficult to improve without a lot of training, he's basically saying. So it's a problem. It's a problem for us. And I ain't going to lie, man, these flipping corners from Arsenal, I've got to go back to it before I carry on with us. They're just, we all witnessed it, whether you're in the stadium or you're watching it at home. It just, honestly, they're just relentless. They're relentless. Like, I'm looking at all them man at the back post, all of the, Timber, Partey, Saliba, Havertz. I don't even know if Kivior was there. I can't remember. All of them at the back post, all of them far back. And I'm looking at us in this zonal where you've got sort of, I know statistically there's this thing where you go in, statistically there's more clearance from zonal marking when you get your best headers of the ball, not marking individually and allow them to go and attack space. But I just think and look, I can't just blame this on our coaching staff because, we haven't managed to work it out in 2 days worth of training to prep for this game. But people haven't worked this out for Arsenal for the last couple of years. They've been brilliant at it. But I just sat there and I'm just like, how has no one worked out how to, be the kryptonite to this thing? Like, how is it so unstoppable? Gabriel wasn't there as well. So you're thinking maybe they're less of a threat from these corners. And it just wasn't. On one side of it, you have to give respect to Arsenal because of how well they've mastered it. Yes, it's funny. I'll say Stoke, Tony Pulis, Arteta, Paella Pulis, all of this stuff. But when I listened to his post-match reaction as well, he was saying we wanna create a scoring advantage from every position, from every situation, from every type of situation on the pitch, whether that's a free kick, a corner, a counter attack, slow build up, high build up, counter press. And he's right. He's right. Like, that's, of course you would want that from your team. It's the ultimate trump card. It's the ultimate trump card. If you're not at it in open play, which they weren't really, you need to find another way to win. So we can cuss them all we want, but at the end of the day, our frustration comes from the fact that we couldn't stop it. We couldn't stop it, man. And it was so frustrating seeing it time after again. And then you have to look at, like SS said there, we had 0 corners. And there's one thing about saying we were lucky because, we were unlucky because it was only 2 set pieces why they won, which is true. But look at how many corners they had. And we had 0. And the reason why they had many corners was because they forced us into, not mistakes, but they forced us into clearances. They forced us into situations that we had to clear the ball. We couldn't do that once. Which is why we had, 6 final third entries, I think I just said, from Laurie Whitwell. Was it 6? Is it 6? That's going to annoy me. Yes, 35. They had 35 touches in our box, and we had 6. So there's no shock as to why they got corner after corner. So that's the bit we have to look at. And also how we conceded some of the corners. I mean, Rashford was being a bit silly in the corner. I think he's trying to chip it up. Again, I was all the way down the other end, so I couldn't see properly. But it looked like he tried to chip it up and clear it, and he's messed it up, and it's gone for a corner. Silly way to give a corner. I think Garnacho might have slipped for the other corner, what they got. But, and other times, obviously, you just have to clear the ball. You're under pressure. I get it. So I'm not just all positive just because, the pressure's off. That's not fair. I'm not just all positive because of that. But I am sort of going, well, we got a lot of stuff to work on, and some of that could have been prevented. But at the same time, that Arsenal are Arsenal from the set pieces. We know this. Field Marshal, I read that one already. Shout out Joe Fleming says, what do you make of people trying to cancel Mazraoui over the Adidas jacket thing, Flex? I personally think he's done nothing wrong. I think it's effed up. Yeah, I spoke about this yesterday on TalkSport. I don't want to bring it back up, but you have asked me, Joe, so I'll give you my opinion quickly. Yeah, I don't think, look, I haven't seen people try and cancel him, but obviously, of course, he's going to face criticism. I don't think he should. I think that it's his personal choice to, players have a personal choice. And look, the team have basically said, because we don't want to highlight Mazraoui as the only one not wearing it, we'll all not wear it. Which I understand the ethos. And then also the problem is if it's too individualized, then the message is wrong anyway, because imagine when the players are walking out the tunnel and then you've got 3 players at the front of the line who are wearing the jacket, then 2 in the middle who are not, then another 4 who are, then another 1 who isn't, then another 1. That's even worse. So I do think if it was only Mazraoui who didn't want to wear it, I don't think the backlash would have been as bad as that. He has different beliefs. He has beliefs that he follows, which is no problem. That doesn't mean that he's not for the cause or wishes bad on any, on any type of person or endorses discrimination. I think sometimes there's this thing of like, if there's a religious belief or a cultural belief that separates people out, it automatically means that person is for discrimination and treating people differently and worse. It doesn't mean that. It means that's their belief and that's what they're entitled to have. But I just feel like if Mazraoui, because what's happened is we've all not done it, and Mazraoui's ended up being the highlight of it anyway, because the Athletic had done a piece saying it's him, and then the club has showed the team have showed solidarity with him, which is a positive. But at the same time, I think it would have been the same if they just let him not wear it and everyone who wanted to wear it wore it, and the rest of the team did. Because I don't think there's any other people in there. I don't know how Ahmad would have perceived it. I'm not sure, but yeah, I just think this happens all the time, and it's a bit annoying, really. So no, he shouldn't have been, cancelled or anything like that. I think that's ridiculous. So yeah, shout out to you, Joe Fleming. Ellen says, Lenny Yoro, my son, just turned 19 and was thrown into the witch's cauldron against Arsenal. Respect. Yes, big respect to him because that's how you learn. Here you go, kid. We're 1-0 down against Arsenal. Get on. Do you know what I mean? We're 1-0 down against Arsenal. We've conceded from one set piece already. Get ready for the corner, son. They're going to open up a little bit more as well. There's going to be some counter attacks. He had to face Trossard 1v1, which could have ended really wrong for him. Nice sliding tackle. He used the ball quite well, had a steady performance. So, again, this is another positive that we can talk about. Lenny Yoro getting some minutes, finally. And, again, going forward, he came on at right centre-back as well, and we jig things around. So that will probably give us a little bit of a indication as to where he's going to be. What we probably guessed he would be right centre-back. That's going to be perfect for him. And again, we get players back. We get minutes in the tank. I'm going to get to Ruben Amorim's rotation again because it's a big thing. You know, that we have to talk about this team sheet as well. We want to talk about everything, not just that, you know, fair enough, Arsenal didn't batter us. So we actually did good. It's all positive. You know, could we have picked a different team? Could Ahmad have started? Could Rashford have started? Even though Rashford, when he come off the bench, was terrible. Garnacho was terrible. You know, could these guys have started? Would that have made a difference? Like, we have to talk about that. Eminem says, not going to lie, we need to get fluid in the final third like we did last under Ollie. We had one moment where we did, and Anthony won the free kick. Be more unpredictable. Yeah, Anthony just, you know, quick feet at the edge of the box, and he did win a free kick. But far too many times, we were just really flat, really, really flat. All right, big up Joe Blackman. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I feel like we shouldn't underestimate or overlook that we've got big problems in there. What did you lot think about the rotation though? Because Ruben said that he's going to continue this rotation. You know, because we've got a lot of games. I'm just trying to find the bit where he said it. Amorim named 6 different players from the team that faced Everton. Kuna Maguire for his first start in 2 months. Malacia on his first Premier League start since May 23. Ahmad was rested and started on the bench, but came on at half-time. Diogo Dallas switched to left-back. Amorim made a triple substitution. So there's loads of stuff going on. So he made 5 substitutions with 3 positional shifts. So he says more than Amorim says fitness is dictating his decisions. So that's the main thing, because he wants to manage the load of the players. And I listened to his post-match presser, and he says, you know, the load of the players, the fitness of the players, we have to keep rotating. And he says, and with another 15 games in 57 days up to February the 1st at a rate of 1 every basically 4 days, 3.8 days, there will be no respite, is what Laurie Whit was saying. And Amorim said on it, he goes, it's not because I like to change all the time. Because that's the thing, isn't it? Excuse me, peeps. That's the thing, innit? Like, are we looking at a manager who likes to keep changing things? So, like, that's just how he is. Are we looking at a head coach who likes to keep making loads of subs, make sure he uses 5 subs every single time? Because a worry of that, and I'm only just bringing it up as a conversation point, because I know the answer in my head, but I'm just bringing it to you guys. Our answer to that could be that you lack continuity if you keep changing things. If players at the beginning it's all right, but if players don't start to get a repetition, or you get your core of like sort of 8 to 9 players who know they're starting or something like that, then you can build upon that. You know, your dead certs. If you don't start to establish that, then you know you can run into trouble because there's no fluidity in the team. But I think this early on, with this fixture schedule, with the amount of injuries we've had, I don't mind it at all. Yes, I was shocked that Ahmad didn't start. I think he could have, but he came on at half-time and the game was at 0-0. So that plan, you could argue, worked. But, you know, catching up with Robbie after the game, he was saying, well, nah, he disagrees. He said, you know, Rashford is in form. He scored 3 goals in 3 games just before that. You know, he always scores at the Emirates. You've got to play him. You got to find a way. Now, these are all hindsight things because, you know, Rashford came off the bench and dropped a stinker, you know. But the question is that I would put to you guys, would Rashford have played better from the start? Would we have had more if Garnacho was out and Rashford was in? It's all hindsight because, again, Garnacho was terrible. So you could say, should have started Rashford, mate. Garnacho weren't great anyway. We don't know. Just because Rashford scored in the last 2 years at the Emirates, you know, he quite liked scoring there, it doesn't mean that it was right from the start today. And I think we have to remember what the manager is telling us. And it's like the boxing analogy as it goes, the boxing saying that styles make fights. Just because one boxer destroys that boxer, that doesn't mean that it's right for the boxer who just destroyed that guy to go and fight that guy. And those skills are transferable into that fight, and it means you're going to knock that guy out. It doesn't mean that. And Ruben Amorim told us this much against Everton. Look how the teams changed pretty much in all the games, not just because of the load, but also for the different teams stylistically. We saw Rasmus Højlund get a brace against Bodo Glimt, pretty much a hat-trick if you include the first goal or the importance of his role in the first goal, right? Then we're thinking, right, Rasmus, brilliant on Thursday night. Surely he's going to start against Everton. Then out the blue, we see Joshua Zirkzee start. And the reasoning behind that wasn't just because of the rotation, which is a big part of it, but he said before the game, we wanted to confuse the opposition. Everton play a lot of, direct balls, high balls, and we wanted to give them something different with Joshua Zirkzee, with some different physicality. And for that game, it worked. Zirkzee goes on to score 2 and have his best performance in the United shirt so far. For this game, Xerxes' maybe lack of mobility, maybe was a hindrance or something that he looked at and thought against Saliba and Gabriel, who we thought it would have been, but it was Kivior. I want to go with Rasmus because he's going to make runs in behind if we can. I know we didn't, but this is the thinking behind it. He's more mobile. I definitely need to start Mason Mount because he's mobile and knows how to press. And I said that he has to start this game, and that's a big vote of confidence for him. And Garnacho on the break because he's quick. So it's different horses for different courses, isn't it? That's what we have to think. And I remember, yeah, I said before Amorim got here, and I don't know if you guys remember this. If in the first 5 to 10 games, I'm going to just look at it and allow Amorim to just change what he needs to change. Whatever team he puts out, don't question it too much. Yes, we were like, Ahmad's not starting. He's been our best player. How? Maybe drop the bag on that one. But, the rest of it, there was changes forced upon him because Luke Shaw wasn't available as well. So we had to rejig things around. And I get it. I understand the rotation. Like you say, if you look at how much games we've got coming up and how unreliable our squad is fitness-wise, we have to get a grip of it. We have to get a grip of it, and this is how. You have to suffer because you have to keep changing things, but long term, we'll be better for it. Javan, thank you for the contribution. Javan, big up to you, bro. Big love. International says, I believe the process. He's gaining insight. He is. And AJ Black says, why drop Diallo and Rashford if not to defend? And yeah, are you an Arsenal fan? Yeah, I can see that. And I get it from an Arsenal perspective. You guys would probably see it as like Ahmad and Rashford, always scores at the Emirates. Like you would have been when you saw. I think I get that from an Arsenal fan's perspective. Yeah, when you looked at that United team sheet, you're less scared looking at it because it doesn't have Ahmad and Rashford at face value. But where we're coming from is that we can understand what the head coach is trying to do. Like the bigger plan is us turning into a good team and getting everybody fit and keeping everybody fit. That's the better plan for us. We could have changed things that might have given you a better game, AJ. I hear that, but yeah, I think it was for a little bit of defensive structure, really, which did work for large parts, but just not enough. V33 says, Flex, why are you mods not kicking out xenophobic clowns out? I haven't seen, but if there's the mods know what to do, guys. If people are speaking wrong and not being respectful and talking nonsense and being discriminatory and all of that rubbish, you don't know what to do, mods. You don't know what to do, yeah. So yeah, thanks V33. If he got kicked, Flex. Oh, he got kicked, right? Okay, mods, you guys know what to do. The person was timed out. Don't worry. All right, big up. Fair play, court start. I didn't see. I was just going off that super chat. Big up. The wrap up, Evan says, Amorim told no lies. He said there would be rotation, hence why he thought we wouldn't. Hence why I thought, we wouldn't. There's a method behind it. Facts, Flex. Down the home stretch, we will be better for it. Exactly. And I think that transparency that he's given us of telling us what he's got to do, what he needs to do, and why he needs to do it. That the buy-in will be there. The buy-in will be there. There was a lot of fans. There was a few fans around me actually in the way. And yesterday were going, "Oh, like why don't we attack a little bit more? Like go for it." And I was just in conversation. I was like, "No, guys, this is all right. Like I know it's a little bit annoying. But Like, we got to stay in the game. We've got to remember where we are. We've got to remember what type of team Arsenal are. Do you know what I mean? And overall, I think, like you said, you could feel it in the stadium. The Arsenal fans weren't happy at halftime, and they were the ones who had to raise it. And the set pieces done us. Dag says, apart from set pieces, we easily get a draw out of that game in open play. We were solid and made Arsenal look ordinary in open play. Just set pieces let us down and toothless in attack. Yeah, I would agree with that. They, they're better players. Odegaard, you don't often see him. I'm not going to say, get marked out of the game. That's probably a bit of a stretch, not pocketed. But he didn't look his free flowing self. He wasn't doing what he normally does. Saka wasn't doing what he normally does. Partey wasn't great, wasn't doing what he normally does. Declan Rice was good. Timber was good. Saliba was good. But it's the more defense-minded players that are doing the business. Kai Havertz was anonymous, just like Rasmus Højlund was to a certain extent. So, yeah, on that side of it, we did all right. But I agree with you, Dags. Actually, the housekeeping for today, we're at over 1,200 people watching live, which is great. My God, 242 likes, peeps. I'm gonna partly blame myself for this, because we should have way more than that. We should have way more than that. Come on, peeps. Let's get in the bag. Yeah, we need 500. We need 500. We're heading to 1,300 people watching live. If we can get to 1,400, that'd be great as well. By the way, get sharing. But yeah, 254 likes now and counting, because this is the first time I've actually, got onto you guys and said, yo, well, go on. Yeah. So yeah, 268 now. Let's get to those 500 likes. Make sure you're doing that. You're liking up the stream. And if you ain't subscribed to United View, make sure you do that as well. I want to talk about, Rice was good at corners as well. And Jeremy says, nah, guys, let's get to 500. Come on, gang. And Joe Blackman says, hold on. Wait a minute. The liking, not even 300 likes, which I think we're over that now as well. But yeah, the mods are onto it. Langer Rooney says, didn't even realize Rice was playing until he took a corner. He was doing all right. To be fair. And the wrap up heaven again says, Flex Amorim style is good. We just lack quality. This has been an issue for us for years, 100%. And let me just check the timeline to make sure I'm not missing any sort of breaking news that's happened since I've been live. There's some Lenny Yoro stats there. Look at that. Simply United says 100% aerial duels won. This is Lenny Yoro stats versus Arsenal. 86% pass accuracy, 75% ground duels won, 4 tackles attempted, 3-1, 2 passes into the final third, 2 clearances. And then he goes on to say, what a performance. Luke Shaw, actually, Ruben Amorim did say on Luke Shaw, he says, no matter how long he needs to return, I will be with him. We will help him to return, not just for Man United, but your national team needs a guy like Luke Shaw. So we are here to help him. Look, I know that's going to provoke. Like, we don't need him in England as well. Just get this guy out, this, that, and the other. But he's going to back his players. He said he's always going to back his players. And look, yeah, you got to back your players. But we just know, unfortunately, with Luke Shaw, we know what's going to happen. He's going to break down again, unfortunately. He'll come back after this setback and this setback might take even longer than the few weeks that's been, put out there as how long it's going to take. We know that. And then, he's going to break down again. So, and we're going to need someone more reliable. So we'll end up moving Shaw on. But yeah, I feel like it's an annoying one. It really is. A lot of people, some saying about Rashford and Garnacho yesterday. Don't just want to single out just, individuals and go in on them. But if we talk about us as an attacking threat, the whole team was poor. The whole team was poor. Garnacho, I think, particularly, didn't have a good game. I think Rashford, when he come off the bench, couldn't get involved. He had, tried to go at Saliba, and that did not end well. Saliba said, "Thank you, son." Lil Brodim just took the ball off him. Down by the corner flag. He tried to chip it up to clear it instead of just putting it out for a throw. That caused the corner that led to a goal. Couple of moments in transition that Laurie Whitwell spoke about. Again, he had the chance of running behind, but wanted to come short, keep it safe. Tried to play that pass out to Ahmad, overhits it. So his cameo wasn't very good. Xerxes, I don't think he had any passes in the final third as well. Couldn't really get involved in the game, but it was a difficult time to come on when Arsenal were in the ascendancy. Mason Mount, I think he did all right in the first half. You know, it was exactly why I wanted him to be there. Understands when to press, can use the ball pretty well, can get involved physically. And again, the limit that he has of how long he can play, like Amram spoke about afterwards, was adhered to. But I think he was okay. Bruno next to Ugarte. I think Bruno did all right. What did you guys think about Bruno yesterday? I think I said it to KJ in the play ratings. I didn't want. There was two like big mistakes he made where he gave the ball away. One, I think when he was traveling with the ball and he tried to play the ball out to Ahmad, which was an easy pass to make, and he messed it up, and then they went on the counter. And then he had a few times in midfield where he just wasn't checking his mirrors and ended up giving it away. And he got run past a couple of times because, again, the physicality of Bruno in there sometimes isn't always there. But overall, he kept it quite simple when we were trying to be compact, which wasn't the worst thing to do. A couple of decent switches out to Ahmad and a couple of decent switches in normal play. But I don't think he was terrible. He wasn't terrible, but it wasn't his best game. Yo says he was measured, but still had the Bruno gene where he lost the ball. Yeah, I agree with that. That easy pass he missed to Ahmad was a disgrace. Bruno came out of position a lot. Average game, Bruno was captain. He can be much better. He reverted to the old Bruno where we were 1-0 down. And then when we faced adversity, Bruno started doing poor shit again. Not good enough. It ain't good enough, sorry. And Old Trafford TV says Mount and Bruno should be our starting 10s. Yeah, I can understand why you would say that. I do want to single out praise for Ugarte, though. What did you guys think about him? Let me know what you think about Ugarte. I think Ugarte was good yesterday. I thought there were times when the midfield was quite frantic and we had to come out on top of some duels. And he did that when the ball's up in the air, needed sort of bringing down and putting back on the floor to restart the play. He had a couple of nice touches bringing it down and then setting up the play. I feel like he won the ball back quite a few times, like S-Mag says there, did his job. Did he have 100% tackle rate? I'm not surprised. I thought he was our best player by far. He was really physical, had a good engine. And you could just tell, this is why Ruben Amorim likes that sort of player. And we need more athletes like him across the team. We need more physicality in the team. We need more intensity in the team. But I think we've started to see over the last few games what he's good at and why we need him, especially in this. Nigel says Ugarte was really solid and also bullish, which is a good thing. Again, yeah, Jeremy says Ugarte was solid yesterday, starting to settle into the league. There's definitely more to come from him. I can't wait. And remember when people were bantering Ugarte earlier in the season, just shows patience can be rewarded. I agree. And Lilio says crucial to why Arsenal had minimal chances. Yeah, they couldn't. He disrupted their midfield, didn't he? He got after them. Partey didn't have as much time on the ball to just play how he wants to play. Neither did Odegaard. Neither did Declan Rice. And I'm not saying he did it all by himself. That was also helped by our shape, but specifically in the midfield with those two, I think they did a really good job as for making sure that Arsenal didn't have the luxury of the Emirates to just rip us open in midfield. The rotation, guys. I think going forward now, if this game's done now. I will say this could be pessimistic, but again, it's just how I feel where we are. I think the big away games coming up for us, let me put up the fixture list. I think the big away games coming for us will be a stretch for us. Spurs, City, definitely Liverpool, then back to Arsenal again. I think that's a real tough run, the fact that we got to play these teams this early. But I think if we can beat the teams, if we can start to beat the teams away from those big games and see the progression in that, I think that's going to be sufficient enough. We have to be realistic. I think get back to winning ways against Forest. Not an easy game, but, it's back at home. Get back to winning ways. Beat Victoria Plzeň. That's a couple on the bounce. And then you got 2 really tough away days against Man City and then Tottenham in the Cup. Now, look, like I said, Man City are going to get back to winning ways. They already have. We have to be realistic. That's probably going to be a game that's too far for us at that time. But the positives, though, is that we'll have more players with more minutes in the tank. Hopefully, no more injuries. People like Yoro will be more settled. Malacia will be more settled. Martinez will be back in some sort. Hopefully, he's not injured. I know he's only suspended for this game, but hopefully he can play. You know, De Ligt and Mazraoui and players like that, more settled. Ugarte, people start to get more settled in the system. I think Tottenham will give you chances away, but again, that's a 50-50 game. But then after that, you got Bournemouth at home, then Wolves. So again, if you can pick up 2 wins in that, I know Wolves is away, so it's always tough at Molineux, but they're not, you know, they're down the foot of the table. Bournemouth at home, difficult team to play against, but again at home on the 22nd. Then it's a really difficult 3 games. Newcastle at home, Liverpool away, then Arsenal away. So right up until sort of the 16th of Jan, where we play Southampton at home, there's some real tricky games. And even after Southampton, it's Brighton at home. So there's no rest for the wicked. There's no rest for the wicked. The games are coming thick and fast. I just wish we had some of these. Show says Flex saying the process is over, confirmed. I just wish we had some of these bigger games at home. And unfortunately, we used up our credits, didn't we? We played Liverpool at home, got absolutely destroyed. Played Spurs at home, got absolutely destroyed under Eric. We played Chelsea at home under Rude and stabilised. But, you know, the way the fixtures goes now, we've had a good 3 against the top 6 at home. So now it's our time to go to Arsenal, lose. It's our time to go to Man City, probably lose. It's our time to go to, and then the draws have been tough to us. We've got to go away to Chelsea and Arsenal. Sorry, we've got to go to Arsenal and Spurs in the cup. So there's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to hide. We know what we are. We just have to keep improving. Just keep working on the style of play, and I'll be happy. Zumi says, I feel like Garnacho is going through growing pains this season as a player since he's so raw. This season is going to tell a lot about him. Yeah, growing pains, maybe physically. Yeah, one thing, because he's, you know, what is he, 20, 21? So he's nearly stopped growing. But I think the growing pain would be more, or the growing of him, I think just as a player, mentality-wise, physically, to try and find that consistency. He's struggling to find that consistency. He's still involved. He's still been involved in a lot of goals and assists. So I don't think he should be hounded like a lot of people did do online a few weeks back. But he is in a situation whereby, you know, you can tell he's really raw and needs to kick on to the next level. But it will come with time. And he's working out how to play in this system as well, which is also very difficult for him to do. So Ryan says, praising Mount for running around is madness. We sold Fred for that, and he was fitter. I think he was rubbish and has been. Goodness me. Fair play, Sir Ryan. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. I think Mason Mount is a better footballer than Fred. He's a better attacking player than Fred when he's at it. We just haven't seen that version of Mason Mount. Our manager believes in him, says he's a proper footballer, really likes it. You can see the hunger in him, gave him the start against Arsenal. And he's completely different to Fred. He's not a holding midfielder. So fair play, Sir Ryan, if that's what you think. That's your opinion. But I think Mount will be good for this team. As this team gets better and we get more players who like to keep the ball more players who are more physical, more players who can press, more players who can adapt to this system. You know, Mason Mount is one of them. So yeah, I still believe in Mason Mount. You know, I'm not saying he has to be the number 1 starter all the time. We need better, but I'm certainly not against him like you are, Sir Ryan. And a lot of people are, to be fair. A lot of people have been against Mason Mount and think, no, the main thing is keeping him fit. You know, I just want to see him go on a run now where he can clearly. I'm not going to say start consistent games, because clearly in this situation, he's not gonna do that. Amarim's not going to do that. But I feel like just be patient. A lot of people disagreeing with me. Well, Old Trafford says Mount is very important in the system. SLD says Mason Mount Flex has lost his mind. English Tax SLD says, is our homegrown tally okay? Says Simon McGill. Joe Blackman says, I disagree. Disagree with me that Mason Mount could be all right in this, or you disagree with the other guy? Flex, did you see a change in Bruno last evening? He kept the ball instead of losing possession constantly. Yeah, he did lose the ball a couple of times. But I've noticed in the games in general, I did pick up on the fact that he has calmed things down a lot just since Eric's left. I feel like he has done that a lot, where he's just basically said, you know what, I can understand that I need to have a different role under this man. I need to keep the ball a little bit. He's still got a Bruno gene in him, of course he has, but I still think that there's improvements for him to make. Right, that's the super chats done. That's everything done. Where did we get to likes wise? How did we do? We got to 364 peeps. Come on, 500. We needed the 500. Let's try and get as close to that as we can on the way out. What the Devil podcast later on today. Also, I'm catching up with Dr. Andre again at the perfect time to discuss injuries. It's the perfect time to do that. I mean, you guys really enjoyed speaking to him last time. It was very insightful. And this time now, with the Luke Shaw thing, it's very, very timely, actually. Dr. Andre is always supposed to be coming down for today, but just timed it perfectly with this Luke Shaw situation. I want to ask him, and I know it might be impossible questions, but, you know, what does this look like? We could you know, consistent muscular injury. So like Maka says, I'll definitely be asking about Luke Shaw. And I want to ask him about load management from these long-term injuries, because our manager's basically saying, because of all these injuries and all my games, he can keep rotating. But we've got a lot of players who've been injured. I mean, Malacia, 2 knee ops. I want to talk to him about that. You know, Lenny Yoro in the foot as well. So yes, a lot to get into with him. So look out for that video. Guys, smash a like on the way out. We will see you on the next stream. I'm out of here. Take care. Peace.